Hello, I'm Cori Wamsley, CEO of Auroracorialis Publishing, and today we're going to talk about how long your book should be. I get this question a lot, um, along with how long should a chapter be, how many words, how many pages, all that kind of stuff. I'm here to tell you that there's no answer. So this could be a really short video, right? But instead, I'm going to give you some parameters that you can actually work with. So you can see books come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. There's big books and little books. You've got thick books and thin books. You see the length. This one in particular is fairly short. So I'm not saying that any book is better or worse because of the length. I want you to understand that. What you want to do first is consider that you are writing until the story is told. Okay, you want to make sure that you're getting all of that in, everything that is important to your reader, everything that you need to be sharing with them so you can build connection, tell a full story, and help get them from point A to point B. Because when you're writing a book, especially nonfiction, you don't want it to just be a fancy, great, big, long, expensive sales page. You don't want them to pay for something that they're then going, I didn't get anywhere, and now I have to pay for something else. You want it to be helpful. So I'm going to use Spark method as an example. You can see it's very narrow. I did have a couple of people review the book and say, oh my goodness, it's so short. Why did she write a book so short? Because business owners are busy. That's why I wrote a book that was so short. If your book is intentionally short, it's fine. It's perfectly okay to write something that you want to be like a pocket guide, that you want something to be easy for the person who purchases it to be able to throw it in their bag and take it with them. If you want it to be something that is super short because it's super impactful, it's very, pared down, makes sense to the point. I had a client, Marta Soret Greca, or so I can never pronounce that. She wrote a book called The Minimalist Method. And if she had handed me a manuscript that was as big as this, great big book, I would have said, doesn't look very minimalist to me. That looks like a lot of reading. The whole point of her business is to pare things down so it makes sense at just the minimum that you need to be doing. Everything she does is about simplicity. So putting out a great big book wouldn't make sense for her. The Spark method, my book, super small. The reason it is this short length is because when I was going through, I wanted to make sure that I was simply explaining to a business owner how you can write a book fast, not how you can read 400 pages on how to write a book. By the time you get through it, you're too tired. You don't want to write your book, right? There's a point to it being this narrow. So don't feel bad about writing a book that's 20,000 words. I would say if it's 10,000 words, you're probably on the low end. 20,000 words, roughly 100 pages, around in there is a good spot for the low end for books. And that is, again, if you're being intentional about the book being short. Now, for the longer books, again, nothing wrong with writing a longer book. I love to dive in and really enjoy a book. Usually genres like fantasy and sci-fi, for example, are very long books. If you've ever picked up a Harry Potter, you understand. You could club somebody with that book and knock them out, right? A book like this, Living Kindly, this is the first one that auroracorialis Publishing printed in 2021. This one is a little bit longer. This is a collection of essays. So it's something that people are going to sit down and enjoy. It's not something that they're reading to quickly learn how to swap out their toilet or quickly learn how to build a business at the easiest, most basic way you can. This is something that you're going to sit down and learn from it. You're going to learn and grow and enjoy the stories. So they are, yes, it's a little bit longer. And you can see we did fill the pages. It is a complete long book. Something like Braving the Shore. This one, again, it's going to be a little bit thicker. This is a novel, so it's different from nonfiction. We tend to do two different cover sizes for fiction or nonfiction and fiction. For our nonfiction, we do 9x6, 6x9. For fiction, we do 5x8. And you can see it's a little bit longer. This one is women's fiction. And again, full pages, all text, all the way through the book. So this is a story. Again, people are sitting down, wanting to enjoy the story. And I want to show you this one too, because this one is a little bit shorter, but this is a nonfiction book and it features 12 stories. When I was doing this one, I wanted to make sure it was a small group of people because it's a little bit easier to talk to a small group of people and coordinate that than it is to coordinate, 20, 30 authors. If I'm running the show, I definitely want a smaller number of people to coordinate with. It makes it simpler for me. So this one is a little bit thinner because it's 12 stories. We wanted to keep this one in the 30,000 word range. So it is a little bit thinner. Again, full pages of words. We did have bios in here too. If I can run across one. Yeah, we have bios in here too. So you can see there are pictures with each chapter, but it's just usually one picture. That one happened to have two. It's usually one picture and then the bio with each chapter. And the way that they did their stories was to have a very specific type of story. So that one, Unleashing Your Soul Level Magic, was about people who have a transitional story, something where they have gone through a change and come out on the other side stronger, happier, healthier, all those good things. Some of the stories are very challenging, but what the point of it was to tell one story. So writing a chapter as opposed to writing the full book, we wanted them to tell one story, get from point A to point B and showcase, some of that messy middle, letting people know this is what was going on, this is how the transition happened, and then we're out on the other side. I don't want you to worry about the word count. Of course, if it's way too short, it's going to be way too short, and you need to find some other things to add meat to the story. You don't want to just add fluff. You don't ever want to just insert things like, oh, I wrote this poem when I was 15. I'm going to stick that in there, unless you have a reason for it. There should always be a purpose to everything that you're writing. There should always be, you're keeping the audience in mind with all of it. You want to make sure that everything that you're writing has that purpose, that you're writing it for that audience, that it's something that the audience needs, not just you. I find that a lot of authors will start writing and they just write and write and write and write and write and write and write. Great, you've got the story out, but you want to make sure that it's pared down to what the audience needs. So we've got two different things that happen. Sometimes it's a little short, sometimes it's a little long. You want to meet it somewhere in the middle where it feels like you have written the full story, that it serves your purpose, that connects with your readers, and that you feel comfortable with it. So that's how you determine how long your book should be. I know I'm laughing because that's not like a solid answer. Your book should be 50 pages. That should be it. No, I'm not going to tell you something like that because it depends for each person. It depends for each business, each brand. So there are a lot of things that you need to look into. So I hope that this gave you an idea of things to look at so you can consider what your word count should be. So you can consider how long that book should be. And of course, if you're working on a book, we do offer ghostwriting. We offer private coaching, group coaching. And if you write it on your own, you can bring it to us. We'll work on the publishing piece, editing through publishing, and make sure that you have a beautiful book. If you're working on that and you want to talk to me, please reach out via my website, auroracorialispublishing.com. You can go to the contact page. I'd love to hear from you.